So lads, first video on the new channel, Tom Pearson Fit. So this channel now is solely going to be everything fitness, everything physique. There's going to be training sessions, films, collaborations. They're all going to be on here. And then everything educational, physique-wise, is all going to be on here. My main channel, I will put all of my channels down below so you can flick through whichever is applicable, whether you're building coaching businesses, whether you just want the mindset, success, money channel. But this is the physique channel. You know, this is my origin, guys. So this is all going to be kept in here now, just so we can just allow different guys to go to different places. And the first video is I'm going to share my own transformation. I'm going to go through what it takes and how you guys watching this video have it in you already to take your physique to that next level. Now, I'm not going as far back as my start point because it's not really applicable for you guys. Like, I was a very skinny fat guy. I had the worst physique arguably known to man. It wasn't, I can't even call it a physique. It was just I had the worst body. Then I'm going to take you through today once I got to the point of having some level of physique. And to get, if you are a beginner, guys, to get to that point, all you need to be doing is start tracking some calories, start going to the gym 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week. And you can get to the point of where I was in that bottom left picture. Now, this was in 2021. So for some context here, guys, I already had some tissue. You can see, you know, just from training, you can see where I'm genetically well structured. You know, my delts, my triceps are looking pretty solid already. Chest is just starting to come through. You can see a little bit of abs, but just a bit of a soft physique, really. Still solid, okay? Intermediate level. Training, hitting calories, probably definitely hitting protein target, and had been doing for some time, and training and working on my training. Now, I'm going to show you how to take it to that advanced stage with no extra time at all. You know, on the left here, in the bottom left, I was already a personal trainer here. I was already making 10, 12 grand a month as a personal trainer. But I just knew that there was two things really that were bothering me. One, I was not at my potential. And we all know as men, to be fulfilled, we need to be chasing our potential. Self, the definition of self is to become your potential, to become your authentic self, and to actually go to that and follow your conscience to it. And I knew, even though I had a better physique than 99% of the people I was in proximity with, and definitely my mates, I was still feeling empty about my physique, and not in a negative way, but just I knew I had a lot more in the tank and I wanted to pursue it just like I am today. And that was one thing. And the other thing was I was a coach, and I knew I wanted to be in the online coaching space, personal brand space. And I needed a better physique to market that, because at the time, my first online coaching company that I was launching was called Flip Physiques, and it was a photo shoot prep coaching company. Now, we still do this in my newer coaching business, but it's not just what it's all about. It's all mindset, physique, life, success now. Whereas at the time, it was simply just photo shoot prep coaching I wanted to do. And the thing is, if you are going to have that as your sole focus, well, you need to walk the walk first and show that you are the man to listen to when it comes to conditioning. And I had to become that guy. So one was just for a personal standpoint of growth and elevating myself, putting myself on a higher frequency. And the second was I knew I needed to walk the walk to actually show people that I'm the role model for that photo shoot level conditioning if I was going to coach people and show them how to do it. Okay, so this is what I went through. Now, I will also say this, guys. Even though I've had a coach, even though I've spent multi-six figures in my education in fitness and physique, I still always have a coach. Always. And I just do. I always say one of the best skills anyone can have is just be coachable, i.e. just listen, don't negotiate, and just do. I do this with my fitness. I do this with my business. I do this with everything. Okay? The purpose of life, guys, is just dropping ignorance, overcoming ego, and just executing. We are best as individuals at just executing the protocol and living life. So I'm working on my business. I'm managing my staff. I'm managing a few of my businesses. And then obviously managing across all of the clients. I don't want to be just, even though I know exactly what I'm doing, I'm not going to waste my time deciding what I'm going to be doing this week and updating my macros every week. I just listen and do. And this is the exact phase that I went through from 2021 to, I think it was 2023. I put 2 years, I think, in the title on this video, but it was less. It was more like a year and a bit, okay? And there was a couple of points where I got in extreme condition. I was in extreme condition here after about 16 weeks, okay? I'm also going to add to this, guys. Don't want to make this too long a video, but just before this video, this picture here on the left, I actually had, I don't want to go too many details, I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. I had the COVID vaccine, and I had a very bad heart reaction to that. And it put me in hospital for 2 weeks. I had a heart failure, myocarditis, extreme inflammation on my heart, basically a heart attack. And I was at the lowest of low. I was out of the gym for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I was a PT at the time. And it just gave me such a drive to go out and lead from the front. And 16 weeks later, against all advice, I prepped and I did a shoot. And here we can see at the end of these 14 weeks here, I had done a photo shoot and I was like 5% body fat here. Over here, more like 8, I would have said 7 to 9 in this region when I was hovering around a year or so back. Okay. So the first thing I did was I did a priming phase. You can see here, I've got some abs, but I'm not peeled and I'm not lean. Now, I didn't need to get peeled. I didn't need to get to this level, but I needed to raise my level of insulin sensitivity. Okay, so I'd been training, I'd been, managing recovery okay, I'd been hitting okay nutrition, but it was just a little bit fluctuated. So what I did with my coach, I dialed in, and effectively we went through a recomposition phase. A priming phase, you can see a little bit like a recomposition. And I was at maintenance in week 1 and then a slight deficit for 3-4 weeks. And effectively, I just hardened the physique out. So increased intramuscular fullness, dropped inflammation, dropped some body fat, increased my insulin sensitivity. So then when we manipulate macros and push carbohydrates, we're going to get a better response. I'm actually in this phase right now, and I will be for the next 8 weeks or so. Okay, this priming phase was simply just a 4-week priming phase because we had booked the shoot for a date, so we had to use the time allocated to get the most out of this. In an ideal world, we'd have probably gone through like a recomp for 8 weeks, performance for 16, a little bit more like we did over here. But anyway, 4 weeks, dropped inflammation, dropped some body fat, increased intramuscular fullness and muscularity. At the same time, guys, I'm working on training performance, working on making sure my execution's better. Because if we want to go from intermediate to advanced, we have to push our training ability. I weren't focusing on killing intensity at the very start. The first half of this chart, guys, is just nailing macros, hitting all the amendments week on week, and training with better execution. That's the main focus, just reining in your execution and execution on the macros as well. Having them absolutely dialed. Because you're eating healthy, you may as well just get the exact macros in your body and follow the exact roadmap you need to do specifically and spend the right amount of time in each one to get the best response. From here, I then went into quite an aggressive 12-week performance phase, a little bit more aggressive than I would have liked. And as you could imagine, I would have been harder and leaner. And we were just pushing training performance, maxing out execution, and using food to manipulate performance. Okay, food doesn't make you grow tissue. Food just allows you to potentially perform at a higher level. So that's why I call it a performance phase, not a bulking phase or a gaining phase, etc. So it's pushing performance. From here, then, we were 14 weeks out, and we wanted 14 weeks for a shoot, 12 to shred in, 2 weeks just as a bit of a leeway and manipulate, and peak week, etc. Okay, so we did do a peak week then, and then this is where I would say the biggest change came. So I may have gained a couple of kilos of tissue, but maxed out conditioning. So I'd gone from here to 5% body fat with maybe a touch more tissue, but like it made my physique look like I didn't even know what was inside my physique. Like people think at this level physique, you know what your physique looks like. You have no idea what your physique looks like until you get that body fat off. Okay. Now, what we did after this, where we took 6 weeks, I had a couple of holidays, did a holding phase, and effectively just to max out recovery. At the end of the day, about 20 weeks before that, I had just had a huge big deal with my heart from the vaccine. So it was worth putting in a little bit of recovery time as well. And also just from dieting for a period of time, especially quite aggressively and lots of cardio, just drop cortisol from the body. Also let testosterone pick back up, because in a diet phase, it will deplete a little bit in the bottom end of a diet phase. Okay, that's just part of it when you're prepping in. So we did a holding phase, or a health block, some people like to call it, for 6 weeks. Now from here, this is where we went mental. Okay, we did a performance phase. Now, all we were looking to do was gain 0.25% body mass per week. Okay, and again, we were just using macronutrients and training execution and training performance to do that. So at this point, we had a little bit more of a switch on intensity in the gym, and every single session looking to find new levels to that training intensity. Okay, that honestly, you get to a point where, look, nutrition and hitting your macros becomes second nature once you've done 20 weeks of that, right? That's so easy. Then a lot of your development is just going to come from following the roadmap and taking new levels to training. Also, what we did in this performance phase, obviously my food got to a nice high amount of food, so it was very easy to execute on. And in the off-plan meals, it was very easy. The main focus when you're in a performance drive is that you hit your meal plan no different to if you're in a diet phase. But I always say, hit your meal plan, just build a meal plan, remove decision fatigue, remove negotiation, hit it 6 days a week, and 1 day a week have a macros day. If you go to a restaurant, you go to a restaurant. If you don't, you don't. You might just use MyFitnessPal. But you shouldn't change that whether you're prepping or whether you're in a performance phase. That's how I manage it, and that's what I recommend to clients. Now, yes, there's phases where you might be traveling, lifestyle or business, and we've got to go a different route around it, and that's absolutely fine. I've done that a lot. But if we're fully following protocol, that's what I would do. Always just 1 day where you use MyFitnessPal. I'm not an advocate for using MyFitnessPal every day. I've done it myself, and I've seen it with clients. The accuracy to hit in the macros and the specifics is just so much lower. You want to make it easy for yourself. You want to save yourself time. You want to then focus on your career. You want to focus on spending time with your family, right? You want to focus on seeing a chick, whatever you want to do. You don't want to be wasting time flapping around. You just want to have a set plan. You want to grab your balls. You just stop making it all about pleasure. You want to make a meal plan around foods that you like and just execute on it. Now, in the performance phase, well, if you're at 3,500, 4,000, 5,000 calories, well, taking MyFitnessPal day can be kind of fun, right? Once a week. So the sole focus with that were just experimenting and picking foods which didn't cause me a ton of inflammation. So for me, I found that like sourdough pizza on my off-plan day was good. I found sushi was good. I found sometimes just making like fajita wraps was another good one. It's kind of the sort of thing I had a lot of on my off-plan days. I actually worked some of these stuff into my meal plan, right? And that's what we did. Okay, whereas in the diet phase, if I go out for a meal and I'm in a diet phase, it's a fillet steak and it's broccoli. That's it, right? Or it's chicken breast and it's broccoli. It's chicken breast, it's chicken breast, it's chicken breast, it's steak, it's steak, it's steak. I don't go out and eat out for pleasure. I just go for the social. Whereas in a performance, I'll take a bit of pleasure, but I just want to make sure what I'm not going to get tons of inflammation from. I still try and avoid seed oils and stuff like that at all costs. Now, from here, I then transitioned into a prep phase. We did 20 weeks in that gaining phase, about 0.25 to 0.5% a week of gaining tissue. That's where I gained probably a good 4 or 5 kg of tissue, which was really solid. And at the top of that, we did a slight holding phase. I've not put it on here. I'd include it in the performance drive. And that's just to solidify that muscle. What you don't want to do is go up a performance drive, diet back down, just like 1 week at the top and straight back down. You want to go up, hold, and then start the diet phase. That's how we run it with all of our clients. That's how I run it myself. Okay, into the prep phase we went. Now, again, this was just about locking in. Same process. Sustaining training performance was the biggest focus. Sustaining training performance from the performance phase and keeping everything nailed. So in the performance phase, one other thing I didn't mention were we really dialed in on, once we could see what my physique looked like really lean and when it was really sensitive, all the aesthetics and proportions, the vascularity, we really locked in on where we wanted the training volume, how we wanted to build the program, so we could create this aesthetic up in the top right from here. So we could really manipulate, okay, we want to push more tissue into the abs, we want to push the biceps, we want to push the delt. I'm a big fan of like a thick top line. So we put volume there, and we picked movements that would do exactly that. And then as we entered the prep phase, we just wanted to make sure that, especially in those areas, we were keeping that intensity in those areas. And the only thing we started manipulating was the macros at the very start. In the last 8 weeks, we had cardio in, and then we just tapered cardio up. And at the end of the 12 weeks, that's how we were looking. Really, really simple, guys, right? I understand it in its complexity to teach it in its simplicity, but the difference between intermediate and advanced, in summary, is just the attention to detail and just being process focused. You're already showing up, guys. You're already doing the hard thing, right? Now, it's like you could be getting 1,000 times the leverage out, feeling a lot more fulfilled in yourself, having a much better self-image from how you look, being a lot more respected in rooms you go. I always talk about the amount of opportunities I have from how I look. I don't ever want to be a bodybuilder. No way. I just want to look as good as I can from an aesthetic and a lifestyle purpose. The opportunity is presented. So for me, just dialing in and being process focused, that helps. And then also just the amount of like mental clarity and confidence and everything it gives you from a life and a business and purpose perspective is huge. And that's what I didn't even know I was getting myself in for at the start. Like now, 90% of my business fuel comes from my structure within my fitness and my training. That's why this will never go. Like, it is the lifeline for my business. It's my insurance for my business because it's how I operate. It's my daily routine, and everything else stacks on top of me. You've got you and you've got everything else. Now, if you have your daily process and your high standards in yourself, watch everything else. You can build a skyscraper on top of you guys. So don't just do it for the vanity from the intermediate to advanced aesthetic, but it's also intermediate to advanced in personal standards and high performance and who you are, right? When you become that next level guy, you achieve new level stuff. Guys, if you do want me to help you out with this, there is a link below, and you can go check out the video, see how I can help you out, and then you can apply. And all that'll happen then is we'll just have a chat. We'll assess where you are right now, where you want to go, and we'll look at what potential routes we've got to help you. We've got 3 different offers with our fitness packages, all catered to just different levels of support and accountability that guys want. We've got one which is effectively just everything programmed for you. We've got one where you work with myself and the performance coaches, and you've got 24/7 accountability and support the whole time. And then we've got the one-on-one mentorship where you can be on calls with me and we can really go deep into the education side as well. All right, let's get it. Let's go, guys. I look forward to seeing some of you guys inside. I'll also chuck my free Telegram below as well, because I'm always sharing my daily habits in there, guys. And that's where it's at. If you want to create the physique, or you want to create the life of somebody, the answers are in the daily habits. Let's get it. Let's go.